Let's start by just drawing in the belly. So breathing out and breathing in. Trying to pull the front of the belly right back towards the spine. My spine is flexing, it's bowing forwards, and then it's arching back. As I repeat, my mind is homing in on the dantian, the point that's pulling in the most. And now just making this Qigong circuit. The same action in the belly, but more gentle. This is the arching, pushing the belly out. And then it's pulling my belly in that starts the hands coming in and brings them all the way down to the belly. And then it's the dantian pushing out that sends the hands out and up. Pulling my belly in, flexing, bending my spine forwards, sending my belly out and arching my spine backwards, brings the hands up. As I repeat, the action gets more and more in the belly. I don't want it to be the arms that's doing the work. It's all coming from the action in my belly and lower back. Same thing, but alternating. Basically, you're making two circles. You can just think of it as two circles. So one side of my belly is having to contract and the other side of the back has to contract, and that's difficult. But what it will tend to do is produce a turn. Tend to turn towards the hand that's coming up. We want it to split the body and the mind into two. So I become the play between these two sides. Each side has a little bit of independence from the other. So they're not quite completely opposite. Feel this as like an activity that's wanting to happen between the hands. I haven't locked the two sides into equivalence. Let's start with the same exercise of pulling the belly in. It's the breathing exercise, but I'm really trying to pull my dantian towards my spine. Trying to get real flexion, real bendiness in the lumbar spine. Drawing the dantian in so that what's beneath the min meng, my bottom vertebra and my sacrum, can angle down smoothly into the legs. We have to appreciate that correct posture when we're sitting is quite different from correct posture when we're standing. When I'm standing, I don't want the sense that I'm sitting on top of my legs. I want the sense that my spine is melding, melting into the legs seamlessly. So there's just a smooth transition between my spine and my legs. I really want the sense that my spine is being sucked down into my legs when I draw the belly in. And it's difficult because the legs, of course, have to work hard and they hurt. body pause. Feel the Dantian and the Mingmen, front and back of the same region. Dantian has a sense of gathering into itself. The Minmeng has a sense of expanding. Moving from leg to leg. What I'm doing now is splitting the two sides, left and right, full and empty. What I want to feel is not simply the quantitative difference, the fact that one side is filling and taking my weight and the other side is emptying, but the qualitative difference. What John would call the poetry, the color, the nuance. How does the filling leg feel? How does the emptying leg feel? The filling leg has a sense of gathering, coming into itself, becoming strong. The emptying leg has a sense of expanding and reaching out. So there's a certain sort of grim, serious, heavy solemnness to this. And this is playful and open and light. We want to register that, feel it, notice it, and allow it. Commit ourselves to have these two alternating moods all the time. Then I want to feel, what is it that compels me to move? I don't want it to be fear. So as this is becoming full and heavy and dense, it starts to hurt. So I don't want it to be my pain response that makes me push out of this leg. What it is, it's the open curiosity that reaches out of the empty leg that pulls me towards it. So this opens up and I get drawn into it because it moves, the energy moves out and my body follows it. As I sink into one leg, something reaches out of the other side and I get drawn into it. As I sink into one, the other one opens up and lifts and reaches out. There's a sense of gathering in the full side, a sense of opening in the other side. And now the same thing, but turning with it, really turning. I open up to one side and then it all comes back to the middle. And then I open up to the other side. I'm trying my best to keep my spine still in the middle and turning around it. It requires me to have both of my legs working all the time. Both legs are pushing away from each other, and then both feet are pulling towards each other. Pushing away, pulling towards. Now let's try the figure of 8 around the hips. is basically the same as that exercise we've just done. What we want to get away from is simply tracing a figure. So I'm not doing this. What I'm doing is staying in the middle and turning. And I have to use my mind, my enthusiasm or my intensity to send the figure of 8 around here. And so it's this area again, pulling the belly, squeezing the back. So I turn to the side and I send this loop out, and then I draw my belly in to pull it back. And then I turn this side. So something in me gets a little bit fierce to send the loop out. And then something in me gets really together and determined to pull it back in again. It's like a boomerang. Imagine a boomerang that's obeying your mind, not a mind that's telling it what to do, but a mind that's intending its movement. Here I intend this loop, and then I have to intend it to come back to me, to return. So here I intend it to go out, and then I intend it to return. And the turning simply makes it a figure of 8. Otherwise, it would just be in and out along a line like this. So I'm turning, I'm sending out, and then I pull in to draw it back. So the figure of 8 we're creating is energy. And we know that energy is the flow of intention. Think of like lassoing, like you throw out the lasso and then you draw it in. But your mind has to intend the throw, and it has to intend the withdrawal, the pulling in, the retraction. So really, it's exactly the same as the previous exercise we did of just opening up to either side. But in my mind, I have this image of this figure of 8, what John called the returning spiral. Here I'm going clockwise, and then this side I go anti-clockwise. And now turning again, but just feeling the straightening back leg. So I straighten this leg to turn myself this way, and then I bend this leg to pull myself back to the front. Bend the leg, straighten the leg. Bend the leg, straighten. contract, extend, contract, extend. You get it in the arm and the hand, then it will translate into the leg and the foot if you keep practicing it. And then just get it to be the reaching out and pulling in, climbing the rope. It's exactly the same. The hand's just moving forwards. Both arm and leg are straightening and extending, and then both are bending and pulling in. And then riding horse again. Let's just try a little bit of this one. Just drawing the belly in, making sure that my spine is just becoming part of my thigh, the bottom of my spine. And now here my bum sticks out. But then here, when I pull the belly in, allows my spine to just reach down to my knees. And now straightening and bending the leg again, but now the straightening leg becomes the front leg. Previously, I straightened this leg to turn myself this side. Now I'm going to straighten this leg to turn myself this side. And then I'm going to bend the leg and then straighten this one. Now the straightening leg pushes me into the back leg. Previously, the straightening leg pushed me into the front leg. Straightening the leg, bending the leg. Feel the mood. Feel how it feels different from the other one. This is very much for pulse monkey. My front straightening leg is driving me into the back leg, but that is forcing the back leg to supply a flow of energy against the movement of my body. So the sinking back gets something to come out. My mood, my feeling has to be with the energy that's coming out rather than the body that's moving back. So my mind is reaching forwards, even though my body is moving this way and down into this foot. And then just back. Feel the dantian. You should have a sense of a tight knot, but it's very local. The tightness in this point enables my hips, my sacroiliacs to spring open. So it's a tension that's very much simply the presence of concentration. Something is really focused in. And now, let's try it again. I straighten this leg, and that pushes me into the back leg and turns me this way. And then I bend this leg and it pulls me back to the front. And then I straighten this leg, but let it turn me this way again. Yeah, so rather than turning me towards this corner, it's keeping me turning here. And then I bend this leg and it pulls me back to the front. And then I straighten this leg. So I'm sort of gravitating between this corner and the front. And then I pull back and then I straighten this leg. And then I pull back and then I straighten this leg. Pull back, straighten this leg. And pull back. So as I straighten the leg, it will turn me towards the corner. As I bend the leg, it tends to turn me back towards the front. Straighten, turns to the corner. Bend, back to the front. Straighten, corner, bend. So effectively, what we have now is bow and arrow posture, 1 foot forwards. So straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. And now let's try it with 1 foot forward, see if we can figure it out. It should be exactly the same, but of course everything feels different because you're facing a different direction. So let's just start off with your hips towards, in the middle, like you're in riding horse. So I'm going to straighten this leg, and that's going to turn me this way. And then I'm going to bend this leg and it will pull me into it, towards it. I'm moving in that direction, but it's very much this hip is being pulled, which will tend to turn me towards the corner a little bit. From the straight, it becomes bent, but then before it gets a chance to turn too much to this corner, I straighten this leg and it gets me back to the front. And then this leg bends, and then this leg straightens, this leg bends, this leg straightens, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. So when you straighten, if you've got your left foot forwards, then you're turning to the left as you straighten the leg. And then as you bend the leg, it turns you back to the right a little bit. So turning to my left, turning back to the right a little bit, turning to the left, turning back to the right a little bit. So we can see that when we get the mechanics of moving backwards and forwards in bow and arrow posture, we're shifting between bow and arrow and riding horse. When I'm as much in the leg as I'm going to be, then I'm basically bow and arrow. But when I'm passed through the middle point on my way back, I'm sort of in riding horse, not quite. And now let's bring the other foot forwards. And now just full and empty, just simple now. Coming forwards, bringing the energy up and letting it come into the opposite hand. Feeling the filling. Energy coming up from the ground, passing across my sacrum into the opposite side of the body where it expresses in the hand. So what we want to feel is that as we come into the front foot, and I want to get the energy into this hand, it will come up into this hand, but I also want it to come forwards. And so that requires me to really straighten my back leg to make sure that this energy is coming that way rather than drifting out in this direction. So the straightening of the leg, the back leg, is important here. The front leg supplies the energy, but the back leg supplies the direction, if you like. And then as I go back, I want to feel the same thing here. If I just sink into the back foot, then I'll tend to push in this direction. I'm always wanting, especially when I'm bending the leg or when I'm conscious of bending the leg, I'm always tending to come into riding horse where the 2 feet are parallel. So as I go back, I'm drifting in that direction, but at the last second, my front leg really has to straighten to drive this hip back so that the energy flies out in this direction rather than drifting over here. So now my back leg straightening directs the energy forwards. And now my front leg straightening similarly directs the energy forwards. So it requires you to sort of jackknife forwards a little bit, especially if you've got quite a long posture. A little bit pulling the belly in. Pulling my belly in so that my sacrum and tail can point down the leg towards the knee. And now they flick out and point backwards. And then riding horse. A real sense that you're gathering and hugging this space. And that's allowing you to relax out of your back and into the space that you're in energetically. So it's not my consciousness, it's not my conscious awareness that's actually coming out into the room. That I'm gathering and limiting. It's my energy that feels, but one has to do a lot of work to get in touch with it. To start with, you just have to trust that something is happening when you're standing in a posture like this that you just aren't really aware of, but one day you may be. And now let's bring the feet up. And a little bit of this one. And so when we started doing this, the effort is getting the heel up. And so the mind tends to be in the heel that's coming up. What I want is for it really to be in the heel that's going down, because it's the heel that's going down that's digging into the ground and getting underneath the other one. So I have to control the descent so it goes down really slowly and deliberately. So I have a sense of slipping underneath myself. My heel is digging a hole underneath me. I'm undermining my own body. And this is exactly how we step. I sink into the foot in order to lift the other one up. If I sink and get underneath the foot, then it will come up off the ground naturally. I won't need to make a special effort. So I'm uprooting the foot that needs to step. I'm sinking, and that's bringing this one up. Legs straight, but not straight. Body still, but not still.